Hey guys, Paul McClain here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. And hey, excited you joined today. And every week, I try to do my best to provide as much value as possible to you where you can go out and make this week better than last week. And I promise you guys, I got no doubt that that's what's going to take place today as I got my buddy Gage on. Gage, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, man.
Good to have you on, bro.
Yeah, this office facility is amazing, man. It really set the bar for what's possible, and it's exciting to see where you can take this thing.
You know, the crazy thing, Gage, is I think if you would have went to the first one, you'd have been more impacted. See, this will inspire you, but this is like 14 years of freaking working 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, and no shows and no sales. But the first one, and we had this one for a long time, you know, me and Andrew would make you sign a waiver when you came in because if you bumped a wall, you might get hit. You know? It did not look like this, bro. In fact, the first one, you walk into, I remember Andrew had his home office, no carpet in his house, right? He had Linda, that was one of his assistants, and she was working on the living room couch, which the couch was one of those ones that like was bent in, you know, it's like
used.
It was used. He definitely like grabbed it off, you know, for free on the side of the street. And it was like a prison cell, man, no carpet. And dude, my first office, this is back with cordless phones. Andrew would listen to me in the other room on the cordless phone. That was our dial team. So I'd call on one. He's listening to the other one. And Andrew, dude, like he would forget to hit mute, and he can breathe. You know, you can hear him breathing.
Yeah.
And I'd get off like, dude, like Mary could hear you breathing, bro. Like that's why I didn't book the appointment. It wasn't the objection. She thought something weird was going on over here, you know. But dude, it's just crazy where it starts, and then if you just keep at it, man. Like a lot of times you don't know where it's gonna take you, but definitely blessed to have this place. I know it kind of inspires, but dude, I'm telling you what, it's to see where we started, I think would be more impactful, and not just where we started. Man, we were there for a long time, dude. You know, decade we were in that same spot. So, but dude, it's good to have you on, man. You know, Gage, I remember I had you on a call a while back, and you talked about the team dynamic and your team and how it looks and some of the things that you put in place. And dude, it was articulated so well. And I think that this is such a big part of this. Like, you know, you've heard the statement, like you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think that there's so much value in that, not by yourself, because dude, it could be lonely.
Super lonely.
Just driving, man, like bare knuckle, where you're holding the steering wheel, man, like many nights, you know.
Not knowing where it's gonna go either. You're just going to the next appointment. You're just driving. You're, you know, pushing day by day, like you said, having no idea that you would have a space like this. You were just pushing through the no shows, pushing through the no sales, and just keep driving forward. And it's crazy to see, because that's really, for me, I mean, honestly, from when I started, I didn't know where I was going to go with this. Like, I didn't get into this to grow a big agency. I didn't get into this to coach agents. I got into this for myself. But I think one thing that I did really well is I like being a part of a team. You know, I didn't play professional sports. I didn't go to college to play sports, but I just love the team aspect. And what being a teammate is cheering and helping anyway or whatever. Like, everyone has a different role. You know, there's role players, you know, everyone plays their different parts. But one thing that I really enjoyed was I got to be a part of this team. And back then, there was nobody in Dallas at that time that I knew a part of the team. So the only way I could be a part of the team was being involved in Slack, being involved in the Facebook group, being involved in the group chats, like being active.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that create these group chats, create these Slack channels, Facebook groups, and they're silent in it.
What does active look like for like a new person that's brand new agent? Like, how do they? Because I agree with you so much. Like, your environment's going to dictate like how you think, act, and feel. It's such a big part of getting this thing going. You know, that's why I would drive 5 hours to Phoenix, Arizona when I got started, because that was the closest meeting that I could get that. And it wasn't, I guess I'm not a lot of things, but I was pretty self-aware. I just knew that I needed it, you know. But talk about like how does somebody actively, you know, plug in and utilize those things? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the key thing is when people share things, like them, share. Thanks for sharing. Just communicate. I guess what is how you be active. You communicate. And I didn't want to be on this island because I was on an island. And that's how a lot of people feel in this business, is that they're on the island, but you're putting yourself on the island instead of being around the fire. And so I wanted to be around the fire. So I was just communicating in these group chats. I was communicating in Slack. I was communicating in the Facebook groups. And one thing that I really, really took that just hit home with me and ran with it was when Grady Paulson was like, when you bring value to the marketplace will bring you value. So when you put it in correlation to this, the marketplace is family first life. And the value that you can provide is your experience, really, and what you did to overcome something, what you did to, what you're going to do better. Don't make this mistake. So we had that Facebook group, and I just became active in it, man. I wanted people to know who I was. I didn't want to be a nobody.
Yeah.
I wanted people to know who Gage Peart was. So I put myself out there. Very vulnerable, right? A lot of us are afraid of what people think about us failing. People are afraid of what people think, how we look. Mm-hmm. And understanding if you're just vulnerable in this business, people aren't going to judge you. People are actually going to relate with you.
Sure.
And that's what it really hit home with me, is I would see these posts and, man, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to say that next time. So I would, if I got an objection in the home and I overcame it, I would share exactly what I did. And instead of keeping it to myself and, saying I had these little sales secrets, I wanted to provide it to the world, the FFL world, right? And so if I had a horrible day, I wanted to create positivity out of my horrible day. Hey, 0 for 7 today, 4 no shows, 2 no sales. 1 just was going to tell me no anyways. But tomorrow I got 6 more appointments. Can't wait. And
that's so good, dude. You're like declaring positivity. It's almost like this is something that I never really thought about, Gage, but everybody can do this. And this could shift and shape the way you see yourself and the outlook you have as far as being positive or negative. Like I know for myself, when I had an agent with me, or even dialing, like the things I know I needed to do, I was more likely to do them, because like we all have the temptation to do what we feel like doing. Like I remember going on, an appointment and having an agent with me, and I had crushed it for the day. And my last appointment was like an hour away. I was an hour behind. I was gonna get there at 9. My last one was at 8. And I just think like maybe if he wasn't there, I'd just been like, dude, I'll just reschedule for now. I mean, I already helped 10 families today, dude. Like. But he was there, and I thought, like, I can't set that example, right? It's like I stopped doing stupid things when I started having a bunch of kids, right? But I think when you do that, man, like you're publicly declaring like the right response, because you're not gonna get on and say like something, dumb about it. You're saying like, this is what happened, but the numbers are numbers. We're gonna bounce back. Can't wait to see what tomorrow has to offer.
And to be honest with you, Paul, a lot of the times it was me getting out of my own negative way. If I would say it publicly, then I had to believe it and do it, right? It's
so
like
good, dude.
Holding yourself accountable. So like when I was in, a bad mindset or just thinking negatively, I wanted to spin it positively some way, shape, or form. The last appointment thing was always crucial. I'd always promote that. A horrible day, been out since 9 a.m., been driving around, door knocking, hit 4 doors, but this last door that I knocked on let me come in, sat down, protected 2 families. Whatever way, shape, or form I could always try to spin some type of positivity out there into the world. I knew that if I did that over time, good things would start to happen.
Sure.
And what I seen is people started to gravitate towards me, whether it was Family First Life agents or just people out in the, watching YouTube or seeing me on Facebook. Hey man, you're really inspiring. Like, I appreciate that. And we all love to get praise, right? And so I wanted to always be at top of the leaderboards. And so I knew that the more I shared, the more I could get to the top, to that leaderboard. Like I was just trying to counter in anything possibly to put my name out there, to hold myself accountable and keep going in the right direction, honestly. And I share that with all you guys today because you can all do that.
Sure.
I get a lot of people, Paul, that ask me now, 2.5 years later, like, man, your guys' team culture is great. Or, I love the way your guys' team operates. And it started with me being a good teammate. and wearing legacy protectors on my back like it was my last name, because I had a goal that if I helped Jordan get to his goals, he would help me get to my goals. And so I wore that name, and I wanted everyone in the company to know who we were. Because when I got started, Jordan was at like 50,000 a month. Now we know where he's at, you know, a couple of million a month. And that was the vision he was sharing with us. And I believed in him so much because he believed in me before I believed in myself. And there's a lot of you who got brought into this business because someone believed in you that you could do this business as well. So if you know that they're thinking that way, you just have to trust them. You have to believe that what he's sharing about this opportunity is real. And I didn't know what the heck life insurance was. I didn't know what Family First Life was before I got here. But the way Jordan spoke about the opportunity, I knew I wanted to follow him.
That's good.
That energy. And so if you're a part of a group where you see that energy, like follow that guy. Like you want to go to the next levels of this business. And then all of a sudden, you know, like I was telling you, people were gravitating towards me. I was helping train people when I had no agents. I went 7 months without having an agent in this business. But I spent many different times coaching up other people's agents because I use it as an opportunity to become a better trainer.
Yeah.
I use it as an opportunity to become a better leader. So then someday when I did have agents, I could help them overcome their mental barriers or whatever that they're kind of putting in their head. And looking back at it, everyone can do that. And if you're a part of a Slack group or wherever you guys, post your results at, it's really weird to me that we have, hundreds of people in these groups, but then there'll be 4 responses or two fire emojis. Mm-hmm. When we all know the effort and the grit that it takes to a lot of times help a family, whether it's a small policy, a medium-sized policy, a big-sized policy, there was effort that was put behind that.
Right.
And so for me, it's really weird to not cheer that person on because I know what it took to help that family. And they're looking for the recognition. Mm-hmm. They're looking for someone to love on them for the effort that they put in. And then people don't get that love, and then they just start spinning the wheels, and then they're not in the business 60 or 90 days later. But if we were just good teammates in our groups, people would feel the love. I can go to my Slack channel now, and there's 10 replies minimum. Good job, good work, boom, awesome job, way to overcome it. And then I was real big on if you overcame something or if you have a story behind tell the story. 732 Americo Eagle, that doesn't help anybody. 732 Americo Eagle, and then a story behind they porched me, I knocked on the door for 5 minutes, sat down with them, or they gave me this objection, I told them this, like provide value with your results.
It's good, dude.
And then you help the world that you're a part of. And anyone can do that, Paul. And I think it starts with yourself. You don't need any agents to start the culture that you want to cultivate within your organization. It starts with you and being a good teammate.
That's so good, man. I mean, because the thing is this, like what I found is whatever you might say, I want to have great culture. I want this. I want a team that, man, like everybody just kind of empowers each other, loves on each other, recognizes each other. But then you got to ask yourself, like, are you being that person on the team you're currently on? Like when you said I had Jordan's name on my back, the thing is this, like it's like marriage, right? Like there's always things you can find that are phenomenal about your spouse where you can be like, this is so great. And then there's things that you can find that are not. It's what do you focus on, you're going to get more of. What you magnify, you'll multiply. And the thing is in this business, like whoever you're working with, it's easy to probably find something you're like, well, I don't know about that. But that's not being a good team player. Good team player is like, how do we all win this together? And if you're that, you're going to produce that as you hire your first new agents. But if you're not, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day like, man, what the heck's up with this group, dude? Well, I wonder how you were with the person you were working with. And you just replicated that into yours. So realize that these little things that you think like, well, I would do this different in my business. Well, what are you doing now and what you can control? Because you don't got your business now. That's what you're saying. Like, how do you be a good team player now? How do you create the right culture? So if you want people that are accountable, are you accountable? If you want people that go the extra mile, do you go the extra mile? If you want agents that are disciplined, are you disciplined? If you want people that are selfless and they're not looking to feed their ego, are you being selfless enough in your ego? Dude, that's what you did, bro.
Yep.
When you're selflessly helping these other agents, like what's not seen, because what people think is like, Well, there's no money being made there. For one, you didn't care about the money. What about that? But by the way, there was. There was. Because when you started hiring agents, man, and you had that selflessness to be able to answer the phone call at any time. Because heck, if you're doing it for agents on your team, and now you've developed that habit, well, now your team's gonna do the same thing. And dude, that's so good, man. So anybody on here, 2 things that I want to highlight real quick that Gage said is to start publicly talking about what you're going to do. Like, man, you can say today, if it's a dial day, like, man, it's Monday. You send out a message on Slack. Hey, excited today. This is the day where I will not stop until I book 20 appointments. Just say it. By the way, encouraging all of you to do the same thing. You guys got this. It's just, if you want to be encouraged, be an encouragement.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like, I think that stuff is so good. And then you start to be seen. The one thing I want to say, and then I want you to keep going on this, Gage, is like I wanted to, for me, I think back, like when I drove 5 hours, you know how I said, I also wanted to put my head above the crowd because I knew that there was people that nobody's self-made. I think that's the stupidest thing somebody could say. It's like, you should just get punched in the mouth if you said that, because you weren't self-made. I'm the first man. Like, no, you weren't. You had people help create you. Like, it's like I've got probably 10 people for sure I can think of that they had an axe, a chisel, and man, they chiseled me all the way. As far as becoming the person I am today, it's different than what I would have been if I never met them. You know, like, I'm not self-made. But I knew that there's people that were a part of this team that would be able to help me become who I needed to become. You know,
I think we preach, be the agent that you want to hire.
That's good.
So that's what it falls into, like, and the idea of what you do, half your team will do, is 100% real. So if you're mad at this aspect of your business, or you're mad at this aspect of your team, you have to look in the mirror and understand that you probably set yourself up for that by not doing exactly what you said. Like, you can't expect to have encouragement if you're not providing the encouragement. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah, we used to say, be the copy worth duplicating. Same concept, man. Literally. That's exactly what it is. But, you know, so Gage, what I would do is I wanted to stick my head above the crowd. So, because the reality is this, like, dude, you have a lot of agents. Like, your organization, you know, you're helping, you know, are you your board member now?
No, we're
close to it.
Yep.
Close to the board member. And so the reality is this, like, when it comes to getting there, there's probably been a lot of people that have kind of given you some different, that fed you differently, right? Like, it's like, if I want to be a more straightforward, direct person, I get a lot of that from Sean. If I want to be more charismatic, like, I'm a product of all these different people, because everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses, right? Yep. But I knew that I wanted to, you've got all these agents, you can't think about every single agent out, because you've got such a massive business, you just can't do it. And you don't have to do it, because it's up to the team, the agent on the team, to be a good team player. They stick their head above the crowd and say, man, I'm like, look at me. Well, how do you do that? Work ethic, intelligence, and gratitude, right? You're putting in a ton of work. You're driving the 5 hours to the meeting. You're always there. Wherever you look, man, they're always there. They're always asking questions. They're always reaching out to feedback. They're grateful. They always express gratitude and appreciation. Always find the good in anything. Like that kind of, they're intelligent. They're growing themselves. They're developing themselves. They seem like they're thinking about their business. They got a business IQ here. That's what keeps your head above the crowd. And when your head's above the crowd, now the person that you have to have in your life on that team that's going to get you to where you want to go, because you can't be self-made, they're more likely to drop down. But you guys can control that. You control that with your Slack. Yep. You're plugging in your engagement. Man, it's a big deal, man.
No, it really is. And I think that we have to be able to preach duplication if you want to continue to grow a business. If you're doing something so far-fetched, you can't expect, 10, 15, 20 agents to be able to do that. But like, you hit on a big thing, like driving 5 hours to Phoenix. Like, if you're driving 2 hours to an appointment, you better believe you should be sharing that, because the big thing is we need to normalize the grind. Everyone is trying to take these different shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. I got a Honda in June of 2020 with 24 miles on it. Right now, it has 41,000 miles on it. That's a lot of windshield time. I don't do a whole lot outside of work. This is what I do. Like, that's how many miles I drove. So let's make that normal. Like, you're gonna be putting in this effort. And when we put up these highlight reels of these, big days, big weeks, what did that week look like? Like, we should share what that week looked like, because then people would probably push themselves to the next level.
Yep.
I'm not doing enough. I need to do more of this. But we get so caught up in seeing the highlight reels in Family First Life and thinking that we can take these shortcuts to get to those highlight reels. You know, a week ago, we were down in John Wetmore's office, and he was talking about tracking appointments booked and your issue paid, and then dividing that and seeing how much you make per appointment. Because if I'm trying to coach you up, Paul, to get to 40 families helped in a month, but you're only helping 6 families, you think helping 40 families is so far-fetched, and he has some crazy insane talent, or he's so much better at this business than you. But if I could say, this is how much you make per this appointment, and this is how much he makes per appointment, all of a sudden it's just he works harder than you. He works more than you, and it's not so far-fetched. But trying to articulate that with words is really hard, because now you're just trying to breathe belief that they can do it when you could just use numbers to get to that point.
That's right.
So just normalize the grind, normalize what you're doing. If you're producing at a high level, start sharing that to the world with what that looks like. How many hours did you dial? How many appointments did you book? Midday, I'm at this. I'm not going to stop till I hit this. Like giving that out to the world will elevate the people around you.
That's exactly right.
And you'll get more out of your agents. But so many people in like the group chats, Facebook groups, and even Slack, they're so silent in those. Make people know who you are. Put yourself out there. Be vulnerable. Be coachable. Make mistakes. Sean says, go run and break things and we'll fix it. Like, activity is everything in this business.
Dude, I think you might have said the key word, man. Like, what can we do today to express more vulnerability? You know what I mean? Because you can't impact somebody unless you're vulnerable and you really show them the real life of what it looks like. And I think what it does is it takes a pedestal out from underneath you, because when you're out there just putting the highlight, the leaderboard, all these things, what people do by nature is they just put you on a pedestal. Like, well, that person's just so good, or that person's just that. And what that does is it causes them to feel insecure, which doesn't lead them to doing anything great, right? Or it causes them to be lazy because they think, well, what's the point? But when you do that, you humanize yourself and you take away the pedestal that they might put up by default just because you're so good and they're not as far as results. But then you start going through, you're like, man, we have the same results. They just did 3 times the amount. And I remember doing that, since day one when I was working with the team, looking at dividing even the amount of dials into the AP, and how much you're making per dial. And then you divide it into how many appointments you book. So even if they don't show up, they cancel, reschedule, that's still X amount. And it just changes the perspective of like a no-show. Like, it's like, who cares? I still got that.
X.
I remember because I saw like that, client hang up on me, 2 times. I just call back and breathe in the phone, freak them out, then hang up, and I got you. I just made X amount, because every dial was a dial. And then, you look at how many sits you will. If I just sit with the family, even if I don't help them, I still brought in this amount. It's all ratios and numbers, and that's how you build your business. You can't beat the numbers. The numbers can't beat you. They are what they are, but do you know what they are? And I remember having a lot of calls with agents, and the encouragement was simply like, let me see your trackers the last 5 weeks. We break it down, and they had the numbers in front of them, but they just simply didn't do the division. And we'd say, I go through and say, man, listen, all you were doing is you booked on average the last 4 weeks compared to all your other 4-week ratio averages. You've booked 4 appointments less every week. And every time you book an appointment, it equals this amount. And oh my God, you're right. And it was exactly because you cannot beat the numbers, man. And I think that's so good, man. All right, well, we got rapid fire questions I got for you. This is, I have fun at least doing this. It gives everybody the ability to kind of to know you and some basic things about your childhood or things about you. So, Gage, the first one I've got is, what's your favorite band or music artist?
My favorite artist, I would say, is Future. I'm into rap and hip hop.
Okay.
Been a big fan of Future for many, many years, and I just like his music.
I do too, man. He's good. What do you, last time you got nervous doing something?
I get nervous all the time. I mean, I think that you start to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like my hands are sweaty. Every time I talk, my hands get sweaty. I know that can't get away.
Right.
So like stuff like this still makes me nervous, but people think like I'm so cool, calm, and collected. No, like this is nerve wracking, but I know I'm growing by doing this. So I no longer look at uncomfortable things as like scary. I look at them as opportunities to take the next step forward.
Man, I'm telling you what, dude, if anybody can get this from the podcast, like just be more open and transparent. You know what I mean? Like I said in the beginning, I said, man, if I could just be more humble, open, and transparent in everything, because that's what makes the difference. Like, dude, even your statement there, you could easily not said that. You could have said something different.
Yep.
But it's real, right? It's open and it's transparent. It's humility, like you're humble in saying that, and I think that's such a big deal. So as you build your team, I mean, I just had to highlight it again. Like I'm telling you. Just be open. Like most people are dealing with the same emotions. Like I wake up with them, this battle in my mind with fear. Am I good enough? I'm probably not good enough. Nothing's ever going to be. More people are alike than they are not alike. Just be open about it, because you can impact people. Because inspiration is one thing, impact is what you really want.
Yep.
You know what I mean? All right. So what's your favorite Netflix series, bro?
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I don't have one.
Yeah, the funny thing is, dude, most people have said that on this. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me. I'm not gonna judge you if you end up being on the podcast and you have one, you know. But everyone's like, damn, I was working. I don't know. What about your favorite movie?
My favorite movie I'd have to say is Coach Carter. I really like the impact that he had on a group of people who would have been nervous to try to make an impact on. So I really like that movie, and something one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's your favorite? What's the most impactful book you've read in like the last 12 months?
Intentional Mindset by Dave Anderson.
It's a good one.
It's so good. Anything that he puts out, it's just all about mindset. And this business is huge for mindset. So if you're not looking into his stuff, he has a podcast that goes out every single week. Like, I love Dave Anderson.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. I do too. So, hey, man, thank you for joining, brother.
Of course, thank you.
Guys, this was big. I took a lot from it. I know you did as well. Like, subscribe, and share this. I think everybody by nature just wants to make a difference. Sometimes you simply sharing this is the difference that you'll make today in somebody else's life that wouldn't have seen it, but they see it because you shared it. Also, comment below. We've got prize money for lead giveaway. We have 4 winners every week, $250 in cash, and it's pretty cool. At conference, I had somebody come up and say, man, I don't know if you knew this, but I was in a spot where I was just trying to get this thing going, like anything, you know. It was a struggle. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to invest, get this thing, you know, back to where it needs to be. And he's like, man, I was in a bad spot, didn't know what it was gonna look like, and all of a sudden I won the lead money, went out there and served 7 families that week and got things turned back around. So hopefully it has an impact on you like that, and you could take your business to the next level, because the goal is to make this week better than last week. So guys, be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.